Let's see. So this first one, we actually implemented this starting with a third grade classroom, and it took off pretty well because if you want to get kids talking, the best way to kickstart the conversation is on what the virtual learning experience has been for them. And so we presented this as a way to not only get the kids to understand what's going on, but also to help the teachers understand how connectivity issues are affecting students, and then also how we can help support students have a more beneficial experience online. So if you do take this presentation, I would just advise you to change the Bitmojis, turn it into your own, and you know, kind of see where you go from there. We made a nice little engaging video to get the kids hooked and excited about what we were going to do. Yes, I actually seen that one. And how it looks is like this. So we're going to run an internet speed test, and I'm going to ask you to run the speed test with me. The speed test is going to be anonymous. The only thing that you're going to share that is somewhat identifying is going to be the nearest school site where you are. And I'm going to walk you through what that process looks like here. So don't worry about doing it just yet. You're just going to kind of go in it with me. Let's see. So I go to my internet speed test. And the kids that we have right now are actually so quick, they don't go through the links anymore. They run it on their own. And some of them tell us that they run it at night to see what the difference in the time is. And so once you select run, it tells you how fast your data for downloading is going, how fast your uploading data is. And then it gives you another item called latency. With the kids, we actually don't introduce them to this vocabulary. We let the kids explore some of it, and they tell us where they're and then these are the key data points that emerge: 50.6 download, 11.3 upload, and then 35 for your latency. And you can actually look up all those pieces, but this is where you're going to plug them in, and you're going to see what some of the data is from the area where I'm at, which is up here in Kern County. So on that same page, I'm going to go into my afternoon internet test log. And it's cool to see the little third graders go through it, because they'll actually go through this entire process all on their own. And so for me, my nearest school is Jacobson. And my upload speed is 50.6. My download speed is 11.3. Oops, I flipped those around. So let me see. And then my latency is 35. So I submit my score, and then now that's set. What we do next with the kids, this is where it gets really engaging. We do it kind of like a number talk, where we talk about the data that we collected, and we share the spreadsheet with them. And so we start out with them and again, these are third graders. We just ask them, what do you notice? What do you wonder? And immediately they start talking about the discrepancies in the numbers. We talk about why could those numbers be larger? Why could they be smaller? Depending on where some people are coming from, like this one here came from 726. And then this was actually somebody that had their Ethernet connected. And then we start talking about, oh, well, so the Wi-Fi isn't as as strong as it is as if you plug it in. And then you'll see some numbers that emerge that are really troubling, like this one down here is 0.69. But these are kind of eye-opening, because they show, look at this over here, 0. It'll show you like this is what the kids are actually experiencing and what the kids are actually seeing. So if you're doing virtual learning, like it kind of really helps you to see this as a bit of a temperature check. So I'm going to walk you through this process, and I'm going to ask you to hop in with me and go through inserting that actual data. So I'm in the connectivity issues one. And I'm right here on the internet speed test. I'll click it, and then I'm going to run my test. Once I run my test, it's this one here. I actually go ahead and log it. And you'll log it there with your school site. So I'm gonna give you a couple minutes, see if anybody wants to be bold and try and log those in there. Let me get my timer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now.
Hi, I
Okay,
have
well,
a quick question.
go ahead.
I'm trying to click on the link that you sent to us, but
Hmm.
I'm clicking on it, but it won't let me click in. And I'm trying to exit your screen to put it on the browser,
Hmm.
but I don't want to exit the class. So how do I
Let me
get
give
out?
you, I'm going to give you the presentation directly in the little box down here, okay? Or in the chat box.
Thank you.
No problem. One of the little activities we did this past week was we actually invited our some of the administrators from our district office to go in and facilitate these conversations with the kids, and it was pretty cool because not only were the kids generating the data, they themselves were also telling us how these different numbers affected them, and then they were also giving tips. And I'm going to share with you right now some tips and tricks that we gave the kids. But then it was interesting having them come back and give us their tips. So for example, one of the students was telling us that their parent works in one of the ride sharing delivery business, and I can't remember which one it was. I don't know if it was Uber Eats or DoorDash, but the student was telling me that, you know, when I go out with my parents to deliver, I know that if I get off of my Wi-Fi, I can get onto the I could get onto the Wi-Fi at Denny's and it'll be faster. I could get on the Wi-Fi at McDonald's and it'll be faster. So the level of resourcefulness that the kids are having are kind of bringing to the table is interesting. Another one is that we have school district internet issued hotspots, and so the little kids will tell me that the hotspots actually have multiple the hotspots have multiple access points. So they'll talk about how they toggle between different access points throughout the day in order to make their internet speed better. And it's pretty cool and it's powerful because these are numbers that are coming directly from from their own connections. Let's see. So let's see if anybody was able to hop in there. All right, so I'll leave it there for now, but no one else was able to get in yet. And I'm gonna share with you what the next little pieces that came with that lesson. So when we talked about improving the internet performance, we did just some basic research. And again, you could take these and you could add them within your own, you could add your own Bitmojis. But we talked with the kids and told them, you know, if you're not using any tabs, you make sure you close them, especially if it has something with games or videos. If the Chromebook is going slow, you could turn it completely off to restart it, but don't just close the screen. And it's interesting how many of the kids didn't realize that just closing the Chromebook wasn't enough, that actually is not helpful for your Chromebook. um, Using your Chromebook on a flat surface to keep it cool, like a lot of the kids like to work on their bed, which is good, but they could just put a hardcover book underneath it to make sure that the vent is letting it cool off. And then finally, little things like turning off the Chromebook every night and not just closing the screen. Then with the teachers that we worked with, they all came out and gave us different resources that we can share with the kids. And so these are activities these are videos that I'm just going to leave there. How the internet works, what is the internet. You'll see some that talk about internet speed and what it is, some really good and engaging brain pop videos. And then they came up with like their own little extension activities, shortcuts and things like that. So that's the first item. And again, when you're looking and you're talking about just engaging them and bringing them into the online sphere, it helps to understand, like, as a baseline, where are the kids and where are even the teachers. And that was one of the interesting parts that we found as well, is that teachers also had internet connection that was struggling. And those are all important things to know, especially as you're going through it. Any questions on the connectivity issues? And again, that one was a 3 through 6 activity that we did. All right, here's the next one. And this one is one of my personal favorites. And if you would, you don't have to turn your camera on for this one, but I'd ask for you to type in there for me. And we wanted to bring our kids into computer science through through a hands-on method. So rather than tell the kids, hey, you're going to do Hour of Code or you're going to go through code.org, we wanted to engage them first and participate in this little activity, which is what is computer programming. So I'm going to ask you all right now, if you could give me specific directions for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And this is exactly how we did the activity with the kids. So lucky me, in my office, I actually happen to have everything I need to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we'll be tying all of this into our computer programming. So can anybody here help me out and tell me, what do I need to do if I'm going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Let me turn my camera. And you can just type it into the chat. What goes first?
Can I say wash your hands?
Yes, you can. Wash your hands. So wash my hands. What happens next? Open the bag of bread and get a slice of bread, okay? Get one slice, open the jar. Open the jars of peanut butter and jelly, cool. Open. Next step. Somebody already did it. So I'll tell you this, there's different ways to do it. What I would encourage you is if you go through it with the kids. I have a spoon. I couldn't find a butter knife. I'm not a peanut butter and jelly person out here. So I've got a spoon. It's picked up. If you do go through this activity, I would also encourage you to make it an activity where kids can bring their own items and then participate with creating something that they have at home. So whether it be a top ramen, whether it's, you know, make whatever they want to do. So put the spoon in the peanut butter jar. Okay. Good job. There we go. So when you do this with them, you want to get as exaggerated as possible. And so I'm not going to exaggerate it here too much, but so typically what the kids will do is they'll say something like, yeah, take out a spoonful of peanut butter, and then they'll say, put it on the bread, and then you put it on there, and they'll say something like, you know, put jelly on the bread, and I'll get overly exaggerated and just start smashing it on there, and then they'll say, no, not that much, or that's too much, don't do that. And or some will say, no, that's not enough. So then the point is that you tell them that you got to get specific, and you want to be specific, and you want to say exactly how much. So how much is a spoonful, or do you want the bread toasted, or do you want it spread across your peanut butter, or do you want it spread across the bread evenly? And just like you do all of that, when you get into when you're going into computer programming, you have to get that specific with the computer, because the computer doesn't know better. The computer has never done the activity that you're asking it to do, or the computer won't do the activity unless you tell it to do it the right way. And so this is that's kind of our entry level activity. Another way that I've seen people do it is they'll put something in, say in the room, and then they'll say, hey, I want you to give me directions on how to go turn on my television. And then they'll walk around the room and be funny and do different things until the kids give them specific exact directions until they actually get through and do it. Now with you all, I had you type it into the chat box, but when I've done this activity, I've had them do it I've had adults do it. I've done this one with adults and with kids, but with the adults, this is a Jamboard where they themselves came in and told us what the steps were. So that's like another little level that you can add of interactivity. Have the people use something like a Jamboard or anything to get to compile all their answers or their directions there. So now the next thing. So this is where we're kind of explaining to them what computer programming is, and in a non-traditional way. I also have on that same slide, there's going to be some resources so that if you wanted to incorporate it into some ELA, But the next one that I want to go into is my favorite one. And I call this one my Kinesthetic Learners Challenge. These resources actually come from Hour of Code Dance Party, and I have the link on the bottom right, and then there's also going to be a link at the end. But in this next one is a good way for you to actually get the kids up and moving and to understand how computer programming works through dance. So you tell them, you know, whenever you see this one, you're going to do the high clap. Whenever you see this one, you're going to do the dab. Whenever you see this one, you're going to do the star. Whenever you see this one, you're going to do the body roll. And whenever you see this little character, you're going to do this or you're going to do that. Then it has these nice little slides. Let me see, my little slides aren't animated, but when you pull them down from Hour of Code, they're animated, and these aren't animated, but you can roll through them, have the kids do the dances, they like it, but consider now that before you've even had them go into the computer science modules that are available on code.org, you've got the kids up and dancing, you've got the kids making, you know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and now they're ready to, you know, sit down and plop themselves down into the computer. And these are all the resources that go with that. So this is dance party resources, and then these are K5 resources that go with it. The K5 ones are really strong. I highly encourage you, if you have the extra time to bring in enrichment activities at the moment, this whole curriculum that goes with it, it's really strong, it's robust, and the kids react well to it. Question, how many of you are doing like a hybrid or physical classroom teaching right now? Curious on that. Hybrid? Like what percent? Can you just throw a percent on there? One of the other cool little pieces that come with this is that if you did get the kids to do so if you are hybrid, you can have them do the dance, you could have them do the Hour of Code, you can have them do all those pieces, but this also goes with the little robots called Ozobots, and the Ozobots are really cool. And that's the ones where you can program them with the colors, and the kids get into them. Any question on the enrichment with computer science? All right, so my next one, this one was one of my personal favorites in a in the physical classroom. So I had to figure out how to do it in a virtual classroom, and I did get it going pretty well in a virtual classroom. I almost feel like it was better in a virtual classroom than a physical classroom. So we building up to this activity, what we had been studying was we were studying deforestation and endangered animals and life cycles. And so in class, what we had done was I'd give them the kids a task using any of these materials here that we have laid out in the class. Can you make a machine to stop the super axe hacker? We had read through the Lorax, and let me see. These are some of the things that the kids had done in the class. So one of my students, this was an artist. She had come out. She created this beautiful little drawing on how to stop the super axe hacker. This one here said that she was going to make a jail so that she could put the Onceler into jail. This boy here, he was a gamer. He said he was going to make an endo portal so that when the axe hacker came, it would go through one portal, out the other. And then this student here, she made she says it's a boot, so that when the axe hacker comes, it would boot the axe hacker into another world. And so I gave them 15 minutes. They made it. They all talked. They shared out on it. So then in the virtual space, I gave the kids the same activity. I gave them 15 minutes, and they went around. And so this one here was pretty cool. This was his what did he call it? Catapult. And when I was looking at it, I thought it was a legit catapult. I was like, wait, you have an actual catapult just laying around in your house? And he goes, no, it's a pool noodle. And then he starts to deconstruct it. And so then when I saw it, so it's a pool noodle and it's folded. And then this is a little basket. And then these were wipies. So he says, you know, I could launch the wipies at the axe hacker. And then this one, she brought out her Jenga. She set it up. She wanted to kind of create her own little jail for the Onceler. And then there was a few other ones. Some of the kids had made items with foil, and it was cool. It was actually it was one of the funner activities that we had done. So I'm going to ask you to humor me, and I know you have your cameras off, so you don't have to be if you're shy, you don't have to share it. But can you make something right now in 5 minutes? I'm going to put a 5-minute timer up. Can you make something that would stop this super axe hacker? So I'm going to actually run around right now and see if I could get something. I hadn't thought of what I would get yet, just so that I wouldn't cheat. But let's see. My timer is starting. And my timer is starting now. So you got 5 minutes if you want to participate, if you want to make something to stop the super axe hacker, and we can save all the truffle trees. I put some money underneath it because I know that the super axe hacker, he really wants money. That's why he was chopping down all the trees so that he could make more needs, and then he could sell the needs and get richer. So I put my money underneath it. If I had a little bit more time, I would have tied something underneath to it so that when the Onceler came with his super axe hacker, he would pull the penny. When he pulls the penny, the igloo cooler comes down, and then just like that, I've caught my Onceler. And all the trees are saved. The environment continues. All the little bears don't have to go anywhere. The fish can stay, and everything continues nicely. So how are we doing? Is anybody brave enough to share? Ah, you have a drawing. Nice. You want to explain your drawing to us?
Made a virtual black hole, and I took your money idea, and I'm going to throw money into my black hole, and then they'll chase in afterwards.
That works. That works. That actually does work. So thank you. Very cool. Very cool. Anybody else want to share their idea? Hey, we have an artist here. Good job, Jennifer. Cool, cool, cool. Do you want to share with us, or do you want to speak on it? If not, you're all good. Anybody else? No worries.
I'm sorry, she might have been muted. You're unmuted, Jennifer, if you want to share.
Oh, okay.
Oh, am I still muted? Hello?
You're
Yeah.
unmuted.
Okay, so, let's see. I just created the exact same machine, but just with hands, so it stops the axes from chopping down the trees. So just employ someone to grab the axes.
That works. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? And I'm gonna give you finger snaps here. All right, I'm gonna bring my screen back up. So what I found, especially with this type of activity, was that the more work of the students you share, the better their work kind of becomes. And I know that it makes it's what we do in the physical class, if we're in the physical class, because you have your exemplars, or you have the work that's up on the board, or maybe you have the work from a previous year. Well, in this case, whether you're doing virtual or whether you're doing hybrid, it just helps to have the possibilities available for the students, in front of them. The other thing is that what this kind of does is it opens up the home space as a space where they can use the resources that they have. And I know that there's a lot of there's potentially a lot of equity issues that go with it. So you have to be mindful of how you introduce this type of activity, and kind of how you build the relationships with it as you go through it. But this is where I did get the most bang for my buck, and where I really enjoyed working, especially with these third graders. Let's see. And so my parent engagement, and this was one of my favorite best days or best activities that we would do. So my big aha moment. I don't know if you how many of you are specifically still doing the virtual piece or solely virtual. But one of the things that I noticed almost immediately working with third graders or new third graders was that the parents were sitting just off of the screen view of the kids. So you might know what I'm talking about, where you're giving instructions and then you see a hand coming in from the side and the hand is telling the student, oh, hey, do that or do this. And so it kind of occurred to me one day to see how many parents or people would kind of show up. And so what I did is I knew that most of the parents in the class that I had were Spanish speaking parents. So I just started translating the readings onto the same slide. And now I wouldn't, if you're up for trying it, I wouldn't tell you to do it, like an everyday type of thing, but you can try and start setting it up as kind of like a reading day or every, like an occasional thing. So every other week or something like that, but where you're encouraging parents to come out. I know it can get trickier depending on how many languages you have in the class. And so in my example, I was fortunate that it was only one other language. And so I would just start splitting the reading in half, and I would go through it, and I'd notice some of the parents coming in. And so then I invited all of them to come in the next day. And then it was really cool. All the parents were sitting there with the kids. And so I would, you do the traditional turn to your parents or turn to your partner and speak type of thing. Here I was doing turn to your parents or turn to your older brother or turn to somebody from home and share with them. And I know that here there's also equity issues that are present as well. But in this case, with the third graders, there was always somebody that had to be home because that was one of the requirements that we had with the distance learning. So I would, and this for me again was like a really powerful kind of activity, because I would read it, have the questions, then I would ask a parent if a parent wanted to read, and then sure enough, there you were. There you had a parent. They would read it, and they would read it beautifully, and they would have the question, and then I would have them go back and forth, and it was cool. It was cool. It was different, and I highly encourage you to try that. But the next part was, when I got to kind of know the parents a little bit more, I had learned that a lot of the families came from one state in Mexico. So that was also one of the reasons why I had chosen the monarch butterfly, because the monarch butterfly, I know it comes from that part of Mexico. And what was cool too is I added kind of trip questions. And because I knew that the parents had been educated in Mexico, like the parents, they knocked out all my trick questions, and then I went and did kind of the thing where I went and changed up my original questions. So for the parents, they didn't see this here, but I had them write down: would you rather visit the rhino pen at the San Diego Zoo or the monarch butterflies in Michoacan? Give me 3 reasons for your choice. And it was cool because then a lot of the kids were sharing, hey, my mom's from here, my dad's from here, I have cousins here, I've been here, and it was interesting. It was like a family. It was, imagine, kind of like a family night, family event, except it was taking place on a regular random Thursday or Wednesday. And it was cool. I liked it. This is one of my favorites. Questions on the parent engagement or bringing them in there? All right, thanks. So you can see right here, like it talks about kind of going to the rhino pen at the Pismo Beach Zoo, and where this whole activity built up from. And you can check it out too if you pull it from here. You could actually go through and check out the zoo animal webcams, and I linked all the different webcams to this presentation. So if you click on it, it'll take you to the ape cam and the San Diego Zoo, and then you can view all the cams. Some of them are more exciting than others. I think the one that was the hit with the class was this little thing, the naked mole rat. And of course, everybody laughs because it says naked. Yeah, so all those are in there. All right, now I'm gonna ask again, let's see, we have, I know we had one that said they were in second grade. If you could give me a couple more, because I have some good resources that I think you'll enjoy, but the resources are coming from, they're actually created by other teachers and other educators that I work with, and these are coming out of CSU Bakersfield. So if you could put into the chat some of your grade levels. Sorry, I'm coming off of a sore throat. So let's see, sixth grade social studies. Let's see if we got something here for you here. First and second. Okay, so for the first and second, I do know I have some good ones, but this is so this one is here. It's called the Innovative Lesson Design, Technology Integration, Community Lesson Bank. Big name, right? But what's in it and what we actually set up with it through, this one's coming out of Cal State Bakersfield, is we had 34 teachers from K through 12 who all decided they were going to take on an innovative lesson genre. So whether it's Genius Hour, 4C lessons, gamification, action civics, project-based learning, passion-based learning, 5E lessons, readers theater, Socratic seminars, 3-act math task, peer teaching, makerspace, flipped learning classrooms. And then these are the grades of the bold and daring teachers that decided to try those activities. And these are the technology tools that came out of it. So we got quite a few first and second graders. So let's see. So if you wanted to try out like a second grade 3-act math task and you wanted to actually see what it would have looked like implemented into a second grade class over virtual learning, these teachers, they wrote their literature review, they wrote their pieces that went with it, but they actually talk about here how they implemented it into a second grade class. They give you like their lessons. They give you how they structured it within their regular learning units, their lesson plans, and then the activities that they used. And then some of them will tell you, I'm not signing into my right one. I'll make sure I fix that one. But some of them, they'll tell you, like, if it wasn't successful, why wasn't it successful? And what would it have been success? What could have possibly made it successful? Let's see. And then they go all the way from this one, sixth grade class, a math task. But I want to share with you a couple of my favorite ones real quick. These are in the project-based learning one. And so your K1 or your 1 and 2, but these are K, but I can see them going pretty well with 1 and 2. So this one right here is kind of like an exemplar lesson. And this one was all set up for the kids to plant seeds within their class. They break down, actually not within their class, they actually planted all of them at home. And then they break down the lesson, how it all fit into it. They use something called Seesaw. I don't know how many of you have tried Seesaw. And when you go into it, they have like their auto recordings. They have all the pieces and all the activities that they actually went through with it. And then the teacher breaks it down very nicely how she actually implemented all of that within the class. So it's definitely a pretty cool little resource to check out. It's all teacher created. And it's all teacher curated with all of the activities. Then where's my sixth grade one? Sixth grade social studies. I'm not sure if I have a sixth grade social studies one. We do have some 5E lessons or 4C. Yeah, they can. Let me see. No, I don't have any specific ones for social studies, but yeah, I'll leave it there for you. Check it out. See if you have any questions with it, and then I'm good there. So if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to drop them into the discussion, or you could ask me here too.